Okay, Israel, it's Yuda Yasharel, and we're back with a sequence to the dietary laws for deeper and clearer understanding. So we're going to start out from the Brenton Septuagint translation. As we go through this, we're going to stop and we're going to speak on certain topics to try to see if we can help everybody listening understand what is going on and why. So we're going to put the context in here. So we're going to start by reading the complaints of the people. This is Israel when they're out in the wilderness after they left Egypt. So this is Numbers chapter 11 and verse 1. And the people murmured sinfully before the Most High. And the Most High heard them and was very angry. We're going to find out why he was angry. And fire was kindled among them from the Most High, and devoured a part of the camp. And the people cried to Moses, and Moses prayed to the Most High, and the fire was quenched. And the name of that place was called Burning, for the fire was kindled among them from the Most High. Now this is the part that starts what I really want to point out. Verse 4. And the mixed multitude among them lusted. I want y'all to really focus on these words. Okay? The mixed multitude among them lusted exceedingly. And they and the children of Israel sat down and wept and said, who shall give us flesh to eat? They want meat. Okay? We remember the fish which we ate in Egypt freely. Now, we know the Most High did not tell us we couldn't eat fish. But he gave us a particular species of fish that we could eat. Egypt was eating that, plus they were eating catfish and every other kind of fish. Anything they could cook, they were eating that. So these Israelites was eating that too. So when they say fish, they're not just talking about the clean fish, they're talking about all of the fish, the clean and the unclean, which we ate in Egypt freely, and the cucumbers, and the melons, and the leeks, and the garlics, and the onions. But now our soul is dried up, our eyes turn to nothing but to the manna. I'm not going to use that word that I almost came out of my mouth. They're raising sand because of they're eating bread. They don't appreciate the fact that they're eating it all. But they claim, our eyes turn to nothing but to the manna.
This manna came from the heavens.
Yeah.
And this manna had every nutritional value in it. That included the garlic and the onion and the cucumber. All of that was, it wasn't physically in the manna, but I'm just saying the nutritional value which sustained them was in that manna, but they wanted more.
Yeah, they wanted, you're going to see what they wanted. And the manna is as coriander seed, which is a highly nutritional seed, and the appearance of it, the appearance of hoarfrost. Now, I'm not real clear on what that is, so we're going to keep moving. And the people went through the field, and gathered and ground it in the mill, or pounded it into a mortar, and baked it in a pan, and they made cakes of it. And the sweetness of it was as the taste of a wafer made with oil. And when the dew came upon the camp by night, the manna came down upon it. So now let's go to the complaints. This is where they was complaining to Moses. Verse 10, and Moses heard them weeping by their families, everyone in his door. And the Lord, the Most High, was very angry, very angry. We're going to understand why here in just a little bit. And the thing was evil in the sight of Moses. Y'all, listen. Well, I'm not going to give it away just yet. But this thing was evil in the sight of Moses. So you got to be asking yourself right now, what could be so evil about wanting to eat clean meat? All right? But see, these men and women, it wasn't just so much as the clean meat. Remember, they were eating food in Egypt. Egypt had no dietary law. They ate anything and everything. Crocodiles, catfish, lobster, crab, clams, you name it, they ate it. And so was Israel. Israel was eating this too, and they become accustomed to it. And Moses said to the Most High, why hast thou afflicted my servant? And why have I not found grace in thy sight, that thou shouldest lay the weight of this people upon me? In other words, why did you cause me to have to deal with these abrasive, inconsiderate people? Why me? Have I conceived all this people, or have I borne them? Are they my responsibility? That's what he's asking. And in a sense, yeah, they are. That thou sayest to me, take them into thy bosom, as a nurse would take her suckling, into the land which thou swearest to their fathers? Whence have I flesh to give to all this people? Where am I going to get meat from? Where am I going to get meat from to feed all these people? Whence have I flesh to give to all this people? For they weep to me, saying, give us flesh, that we may eat. Now y'all remember, they're not just talking about the clean flesh. We saw in the last lesson where the Most High had unclean and clean meats. We went through that, and I showed you all the clean meats. Now also remember, they were in Egypt. Egypt had no regard for clean or unclean. It was all the same to them. And Israel became just like them. So this is the meat they lusted after. Not just the clean meat, but the unclean meat as well. So Moses goes on to say, I shall not be able to bear this people alone, for this thing is too heavy for me. And if thou doest thus to me, slay me, kill me, if I have found favor with thee, that I might not see my affliction. Moses was so tired, he was willing to die. That's how tired he is. And I can relate to that. I can relate to it because I get some comments you guys just would not believe. And it wears on you. So y'all wonder, why do I get irritated sometimes? And it's the same people. They want to restrict your teaching. They don't want you to teach what thus saith the Lord, because they get offended if it touches on somebody that they like. But I can't restrict the teaching. I have to point out what the Most High shows me. After all, it was the Most High that said, show the error of thy ways to thy people. I'm paraphrasing, but y'all know what I mean. So, now, the 70 elders anointed. Moses needed help, so he got some help. And the Most High said to Moses, gather me 70 men from the elders of Israel, whom thou thyself knowest that they are the elders of the people, and their scribes. And thou shalt bring them to the tabernacle of witness, and they shall stand there with thee. And I will go down and speak there with thee. And I will take of the spirit that is upon thee, and I will put it upon them. I'm going to take some of that weight off of you and spread it around with the elders and lighten your load a little bit. That's what he's telling Moses. And I will take off the spirit that is upon thee, and will put it upon them, and they shall bear together with thee the burden of the people, and thou shalt not bear them alone. Verse 18, and to the people thou shalt say, purify yourselves for the morrow. Now, that's not a good thing, and you're going to see why. Purify, sanctify yourselves for tomorrow, and ye shall eat flesh. Okay, now it's fixing to get good. For ye wept before the Most High, saying, who shall give us flesh to eat? For it was well with us in Egypt. We would rather be back in Egypt. This is what pissed the Most High off. And I'm going to tell you why here in just a little bit. And the Most High shall allow you to eat flesh, and ye shall eat flesh. He's fixing to give them some flesh, y'all. And we're going to show y'all the flesh that he gave them. And also, when we show this to you, it will probably help clear up how some people have misunderstood. Yea, 19, yea, shall not eat one day, nor 2, nor 5 days, nor 10 days, nor 20 days, but ye shall eat for a full month. This flesh I'm about to give y'all, y'all going to eat it for a whole month, every single day, until the flesh come out of your nostrils. They are going to puke this flesh up, and it shall be nausea to you, because you disobeyed the Most High, who is among you, and wept before him, saying, what had we to do to come out of Egypt? Why did you bring us out of there? Because we were doing good in there. Do you hear this? These people are claiming that they had it better in Egypt than they do right now under the leadership and protection of the Most High. How stupid can you be? And Moses said, the people among whom I am are 600,000 footmen. And thou saidest, I will give them flesh to eat. Do y'all get this? Listen, let me read that again. Then Moses said, the people among whom I am are 600,000 footmen. Now that's just the men. What about the women and children? They had wives and children, and the multitude that left with them. I will give them flesh to eat, and they shall eat a whole month. Shall sheep and oxen be slain for them? Most High saying, shall I waste these perfectly unblemished animals for their sake? Look at how they're talking to me. Look at how they're disobeying me. Look at how they disrespect me after what I just did for them. Should I let them eat the oxen and the sheep? And shall it suffice them? Or shall all the fish of the sea be gathered together for them? And shall it suffice them? And the Most High said to Moses, shall not the hand of the Most High be fully sufficient? Now shalt thou know whether my word shall come to pass to thee or not.
I want to read it in the Sefer, this verse 23. And the Most High said to Moses, Is the Most High's hand waxed short? You shall see now whether my word shall come to pass unto you or not.
Wow. Wow. These people, this is what I'm saying when you have to deal with the upright and the ignorant. And there's really no way to avoid it. If you're teaching, you're not gonna, you're gonna always have somebody. I don't care how detailed you are. I don't care how precise you are. You're gonna have those that come back at you, and they are going to say things that you just can't imagine that will come out of any human's mouth. Verse 24. And Moses went out and spoke the words of the Most High to the people. And he gathered 70 men of the elders of the people. And he set them around about the tabernacle. And the Most High came down in a cloud and spoke to him, and took of the spirit that was on him, Moses, and put it upon the 70 men that were elders. And when the spirit rested upon them, they prophesied and ceased. And there were 2 men left in the camp. The name of the one was Eldad, and the name of the other was Modad. And the Spirit rested upon them, and these were of the number of them that were enrolled, but they did not come to the tabernacle. And they prophesied in the camp. And a young man ran and told Moses, and spoke, saying, Eldad and Modad prophesy in the camp. They prophesy in the camp. And Joshua the son of Nun, who attended on Moses, the chosen one, said, My Lord Moses, forbid them. And Moses said to him, Art thou jealous on my account? And would that all the Most High's people were prophets? Whenever the Most High shall put in spirit upon them. And when Moses departed into the camp, himself and the elders of Israel. Now, I want to interject something in here before we go down to verse 31. I want to read something to you. Like I said, I want to help you understand what's going on. Now, the Most High promised them meat, right? All right. This is the meat that he promised. And this is what a lot of people that reading the King James and other translations, this is what they don't get. And why? Because the King James and all these other translations, they lack the details. This is why you need to leave the King James alone, because you're not getting the full story. You need to get you a Sefer and a Septuagint, because these books are more detailed. These books tell you what these people did not want you to know. That's why they have spreaded the rumor among all the people on the planet, oh, don't read this book. It's the book of the devil. It's a wicked book. But this is the very book where you can get your knowledge and wisdom from. So here we go. Now, if the Most High provided meat in the form of quail to Israel, which he did, the question, and we know quail is meat, right? Okay, now the Most High gave this to them. The question is, why did they get sick from eating supposedly clean meat? This meat was not clean, but was provided based on the lust of the Egyptian meats, which was defiled and unclean, that the Israelites were truly lusting for. Thus the Most High, being kindled in his anger, gave them an unclean meat. How is that so? It was sea quail. Sea quail is an unclean meat. And we're going to describe the species in just a few seconds here, which was not a clean meat, but was the equivalent of the defiled meats of Egypt. So how could this be so misunderstood? The reason is simple. It's because we're not reading from the book that provides the details, such as Jasher or Yasher. which you find in the Sefer Bible, the Sefer book, which is also known as the Book of Upright. That's what the word Yasher means. Now, here's a description of this sea quail in verse 31. It is described as these quail coming from the Pacific coast. We should note that the clean quail is an entirely different species. So there is a difference in this meat. The sea quail is unclean because of its diet, which entails of spiders, scorpions, and washed up crabs, starfish, and seaweed. You are what you eat.
So I'm going to give you a definition of what is a sea quail. Now, he mentioned that it's coming from over the sea, and it took a day's journey. This quail is found in, it's common in the Americas and the European shores, Pacific shorelines. They are also called, from their habit of turning up small stones in search of mollusks and other aquatic animals. This quail is also called brant bird. Some of these names may be familiar to you. Sand runner, sea quail, sea lark, sparkback, and squirrel crake. Now, as I said, they're found in the shorelines and rocky cliffs along the Pacific coast of the Caribbean and Barbados, feeding mainly on seeds, roots, and all those other things that were mentioned, but mostly crabs, starfish, seaweeds, all the things that we're not supposed to eat.
Mm-hmm. So let's take a look at verse 31. And there went forth a wind from the Most High and brought quails over from the sea. And it brought them down upon the camp, a day's journey on this side and a day's journey on that side, which my wife just finished explaining, round about the camp, as it were 2 cubits from the earth. Okay? That's 3 foot deep. The quail that fell was stacked 3 feet high. They're going to eat all of this. Now remember, this is not a clean meat. This is the Most High punishing them for lusting after the unclean meat that they ate in Egypt, which they were complaining about, saying, we had meat in Egypt. Yeah, they had meat. They were eating all that garbage. And there went forth a wind from the Most High and brought quails over from the sea. And it brought them down upon the camp a day's journey on this side and a day's journey on that side, round about the camp, as it were 2 cubits from the earth. And the people rose up all the day and all the night and all the next day and gathered quails. He that gathered least gathered 10 measures, and they refreshed themselves round about the camp. The flesh was yet between their teeth. Now, y'all watch what the Most High did. The flesh was yet between their teeth before it fell. They didn't even get to chew it. They bit into it, and they didn't even get to chew it before this happened. When the Most High was wroth, y'all know what wrath means, with the people, and the Most High smote the people with a very great plague. With a very great plague. He made them sick. They got sick from eating that unclean meat. And the name of that place was called Graves of Lust. Graves of Lust. Isn't that fitting? They lusted for unclean meat that Egypt used to feed them and stuff down their throats. Hold on 1 second. Go get that. They lusted for this unclean, it's open, the gate's open. They lusted for this unclean meat that they used to eat in Egypt. So when I tell you that they lusted for meat, they craved meat, it was not just unclean meat, but I'm sorry, it wasn't just for the clean meat, but it was for the unclean meat as well. And I'm pretty sure it was mostly the unclean meat. Okay? For there they buried the people that lusted. Y'all see this? The people departed from the graves of lust to Asaroth, and the people halted at Asaroth. So now we can understand that it was not that it was a sin to eat clean meat. It was because of Israel despising the Most High after he brought them out of the land of Egypt, their land of captivity. It angered the Most High because after all that the Egyptians did to them and their children, for example, they used to put their children into the walls of the buildings instead of brick. They were punishing Israel by taking their children, infants and toddlers, and instead of putting the mortar in with the brick, they put the children in the place of the brick and mortared right over them. And Israel knew that, and this is what they wanted to go back to. So now do you see why the Most High was so pissed? Yes, you can reference that. Go to Yashar, chapter 77, verse 14 through 20. Even after Israel witnessing these things, they still wanted to go back to Egypt. So now you can see why the Most High was so angry and why the Most High did give them flesh to eat, just not clean flesh. So Israel, when you mess with the Most High, you best be on your guard, because you should be careful what you ask for and how you ask for it. And make sure that in your personal thoughts, when you're asking for something, make sure it's righteous. Yes, you can eat meat, but you can't eat unclean meat. And if you piss the Most High off, he'll give you the meat. It just won't be clean meat. And the same thing that happened to them will happen to you. All praises to the Most High, and blessed be those whose ears this lesson has fallen. Shalom.